Professor Kyung Moon Hwang from the Australian National University is in Seoul and joins us now. Professor Hwang, you're a stone's throw from the National Assembly. Can you tell us what you've witnessed?
Well, I went out to the front of the National Assembly at around 4:30 or so this morning. So this is right at the time or just after the president's announcement that he had or he will abide by the National Assembly's vote to cancel the martial law. So much of the crowd had dissipated, but it was still pretty active, and people were very energized, you can tell, by what had happened.
And had you heard the protest activity prior to that?
Yeah, the protest activity, you can hear it from where I'm residing, just outside the grounds here. Usually hear this being very loud around this area in the weekends because those are the times when, especially on Saturday, when the mass protests for whatever reason take place. But to hear this on a Wednesday morning was, of course, quite different and alarming. And then I found out after waking up that everything had gone upside down overnight, or so it seemed. It turned out in the end that this was like a 6-hour coup attempt, a short-lived episode, but a deeply troubling episode nonetheless.
Yeah, it was a flurry of activity. Pardon me. How did you react to this move by the president?
Well, I mean, I couldn't believe it. It seemed so absurd on the face of it, given South Korea the way it is right now, 40 years after, almost 40 years after democratization. And so it seemed like all of a sudden I had been thrown into some kind of time machine. And I think that's probably the sense that most people in South Korea got, back to a time when things were much darker in this sense. And so it was just a shock. But also soon thereafter, I wondered what led to this. The man, President Yoon Suk-yeol, had clearly lost his mind. But why did he lose his mind, or how did he lose his mind? And that's something that we'll have to explore. And that's already happening, of course. And the consequences of this action will be immediate and severe for him. He will undoubtedly be forced to resign. That would be the best outcome for the country as a whole if he did that very soon. Or if he doesn't, then he will be impeached, and that will happen very quickly as well. The question is whether he will also be prosecuted and jailed, and I think that probably will also happen.
So it was short-lived, as you say, but what reasoning has the president given about this?
Well, he hasn't given any reasoning aside from the official one last night, and that was this sense that he wanted to propagate among the people that there was some kind of imminent danger from the gridlocked politics. But also, he brought up the old card from the dictatorship days of a communist insurgency that's about to happen, or some kind of communist threat. And of course, nobody believes that. And the news organizations have subsequently checked with all the military command points to confirm that there's nothing like that. And so it's really, I mean, it's absurd and it's almost comical what has happened here.
Would you say that there are now more questions than answers? I mean, where are people at after these events?
Well, I mean, people are texting each other with just expressions of shock and just bewilderment and quite serious anger as well. And that's even with the conservative news outlets, which I've been checking, and they can't believe this is happening. And it's telling that nobody in the Conservative Party, which is a weak minority party in the parliament, has justified this in any way. It's difficult to fathom how anybody can legitimate this. And it seems to have been not only kept secret from the Conservative Party leaders, but from much of even the higher echelons of the government. And so the process for declaring martial law was sidestepped considerably. And in the planning, there seems to have been an attempt to snuff out any uh, constitutional process by the parliament to address declaration of martial laws. And that's why helicopters were brought in. And that's a shocking reminder of what has happened in half a century earlier in South Korea. And troops went into the parliament and prevented some parliament members from entering. And it's like I said, it's just a crazy happening here, and it's going to take some time to make sense of it. But like I said, I think the immediate consequences are all pretty well recognized, and that is that this man is going to be out of his position very soon.
And I mean, as to that future, could the president be jailed over this?
Yeah, so I think that's what the big remaining question is: how will he be prosecuted? And what laws did he break to take this step? And just as important would be who helped him. And this will target then the higher military commanders, or at least one or two military commanders, especially the martial law commander who issued the first martial law decree soon thereafter. And so it's going to take some sifting out to see who was involved in this.
Will there be consequences for the Conservative Party over this?
Oh God, yes. That's really the most interesting facet of this in some ways, because the Conservative Party, the main Conservative Party, uh, seems to have captured this man. He was, ironically, the head prosecutor for the country's government, central government, and that's what made him famous because he was in opposition to the previous liberal presidents, various um, um, various policies and actions, and so among the conservatives, he became very deeply popular and famous, even though he didn't seem to have some kind of ideological background that would strongly point to this. And so he depended on this very deep-seated conservative bloc in the country's politics to gain the party's nomination for the presidency back in 2022, and then closely, in a close election, winning the election. And you can see this kind of ideological, perhaps it's the wrong word, but that he had undergone this transformation into someone who was not only deeply conservative, but dependent on some of the most radical conservative thinking. And that probably was not unrelated to what happened today. And you can also point to perhaps, and that this is what most people would do, and that is that he probably felt a sense of siege with all the investigations into, especially his wife, that had been going on for a long time, but also into his own behavior and perhaps actions that were illegal dating back to over a year ago. So a lot of those things might have come together to result in this extraordinary action.